Hey everybody, welcome to the Wine Vlog. I'm your host Drew Baker, and I have a very exciting episode for you this evening. Right now I'm in downtown Annapolis at the Maryland Department of Agriculture, and I'm here with Kevin Atticks. Kevin is the Executive Director for the Maryland Wineries Association. He's kind of a big deal when it comes to Maryland wine.
I don't know about that.
So Kevin, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do for the Maryland Wine Association?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on.
Definitely.
The Wineries Association is essentially the trade group that represents all of the wineries in the state. So about the only thing we don't do is sell wine. We don't get out there and push the wine, but we promote it. We help shape the conversation about Maryland wine. We bring the industry together to decide what the goals are going to be for the next 5 and 10 years. A current goal is to overcome the perception of where Maryland wine has been for decades, which is it costs too much, it's sweet, it's no good, and those things aren't true. So now that there's a greater interest in wine in general by the public, we're trying to now bring new messages out, showcase the new wineries. We're helping new wineries with label design to make sure that when they get their first wine out, that it looks good,
Right.
that it tastes good. So we're doing educational seminars, and then offering seminars so they know how to design their tasting room and how to sell and promote their own wines. So marketing, promotion, and then my favorite topic, government relations and legislative stuff.
And that's your specialty. Those are all very important issues. How about you tell us a little bit about that last one that you touched on? Tell us a little bit about the current situation with Maryland wine and how you're working to try and get the government to change some things to really loosen up the industry and help the Maryland wine business grow.
Well, thanks for the opportunity for that. If you think about our industry, what we talk about, we're tourism, we're agriculture, we're land preservation, but in the eyes of the state, we're alcohol. And alcohol is the most heavily regulated industry of all. Tobacco, not even as much as tobacco. I mean, we are the most heavily regulated. Every winery has 5 different licenses, so they're paying the Fed, they're paying the state twice, they're paying the county, they're getting a health department license, they're getting a trader's license, and on and on and on and on. So alcohol tends to be the most heavily regulated. Combine that with the fact that the alcohol law was written in 1938 and has not much been updated since. So as the wine industry has grown really in the last 10, 15 years, we've begun to push the limits of what the law says a winery can do. So for the last few years we've been focusing on a number of things, but primarily focused on what a winery can do at the winery. How can they do tastings? How can they do sales? How can they sell by the glass? How can they hold events? So those are the kind of things that we're desperately trying to work on. There's another big issue out there, which is direct shipping. That's really a consumer issue. It's something that affects wineries, but Maryland wineries can currently ship to any consumer in any state that's allowed to receive wine. So that's 39 states, including New York, California, most of the big metro areas, Texas, Georgia. So it's a relatively few number of states, including ours, that we're not allowed to ship to. It's a hotly contested issue. It's probably the hottest hot potato in Annapolis in terms of legislation and law. So some of our wineries are very supportive of that and are fighting for that cause, but it's really a consumer issue. There are groups out there that have been working that issue and pushing that. Our issues, about 25 things we're trying to fix to make it easier for a winery to operate and be profitable. They're not exciting, they're not sexy, they're things that a consumer who goes to a winery already assumes are law. You go to a winery and you assume you can have a sample of wine. You assume that that winery could charge you for that sample. You assume that the winery could sell you a glass of wine or a bottle of wine, open or closed. You assume that you could have cheese and crackers.
Right, these are all funny laws that just aren't the case.
Right, you assume the winery can be open on Sundays. You assume, and there are all these things that people who are visiting wineries in Virginia, New York, Pennsylvania, California, France, anywhere in the world, assume you can do these things. And in Maryland, you can't. So we're trying to retrofit our law and bring it up to date from 1938 to 2010.
So if anybody watching this video is like, wow, it's crazy, I didn't realize that Maryland was so tough on all these laws, it's time that we get them updated so that the Maryland wine industry can really thrive and live up to its potential, which is great, but right now it's just being smothered by all these laws. If they're watching this and they're like, hey, I want to do my part, I want to try and change something, what can they do? What would be the first step that our audience can do?
Well, a couple of things. First is to get informed, so they can log on to our website, marylandwine.com, and get more information about our industry and what our efforts are, and when we need their help to finally get something passed, they'll get e-newsletter blasts from us. There are other groups. Marylanders for Better Beer and Wine Laws is one that is working on consumer-related issues, direct shipping being the big one. They just announced they're going to work on trying to make it legal for people to bring wine into restaurants. Mm-hmm. So a corkage law, right now that's not legal, but there are people who have special bottles of wine they bought 40 years ago.
And they want to bring it out for
They
a special
want to bring
occasion.
it in for a special occasion. They're going to buy wine in the restaurant too, but they want to bring this one bottle in. It's currently
whether
not
it be
legal.
from their birth date or
Whatever.
anniversary, whatever it may be.
Some special occasion that just, for whatever reason, isn't on the list. So
cool. Yeah, these are all very interesting issues. And the question I have for you guys today is, if you find it as crazy as I do, that the state has these laws that are infecting the Maryland wine business back from 1938. And if you think that we should update these, and that if you will take the time to contact senators, sign up for the newsletter on his website, and just get informed so that we can get these laws changed. So that's about all that we have for today. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, be safe, be smart, don't drink and drive, and I'll see you soon.
thank you.